Yo, what's going on, all you Sexi Messi Flexi Pexi motherfuckers? It's your boy T-Dub, and we back with another video for you guys today. And today we're doing another gaming discussion, and we're going to be talking about emulation, and we're going to be talking about where emulation is right now, and you know, like how should it be treated? Like, how should we look at emulation? Now I think, you know, with all the recent stuff that's been going on with Nintendo trying to get, you know, a lot of ROM sites taken down, and them basically being like almost the only company that's even caring about this stuff. A lot of people have brought it back up. It's been at the forefront of discussion over the past week or two, and you know, a lot of people are bringing up that age-old discussion because it's still a discussion about whether it's ethical, whether it's right to emulate games, you know, of older platforms and, you know, all that type of stuff, because we've seen it negatively impact consoles before. You know, like emulation and piracy, mainly piracy, but was like really a big thing with the Sega Dreamcast, and it was a big reason, not really the main reason, but like a big reason why that console didn't perform the way it should have performed in terms of selling software. And you know, that really hurt that platform, which I if you ask me personally, I think the Sega Dreamcast is an amazing console, but I still don't think it would have been enough to save Sega, you know. But the piracy issue really hurt it. But then you get to something like the PSP, where if you ask me, the PSP probably wouldn't have been as successful as it was if it wasn't for the ease of piracy, quote unquote, and hacking it. And because the PSP, even me as a kid, right, I remember I used to install all like the Henkaku type custom firmwares and shit like that. I even used to have videos on it. Like, I uploaded like a whole tutorial on how to get custom firmware on a PSP. And I remember I used to play like all the old games on my PSP. I used to have a Game Boy Advance emulator on there. I used to have a Super Nintendo emulator on there, and that used to be dope. I never pirated any games, you know, actual PSP games on there, but no, I know there was a lot of people that did. They didn't buy their PSP games. They, you know what I'm saying, directly downloaded their PSP games off the internet and ran it through there. And while that's not necessarily emulation, you know, it still kind of goes back to the thing where it's like, oh, well, nowadays, if they release, like, okay, let's say, like, the PSP games on PS Vita, right? People don't have to buy them on PS Vita because they can just emulate them, you know, and they can run them at much higher settings and be able to record them much easier and stuff like that, right? Well, the way I look at it, and I've always looked at it this way, and I feel this way now, a lot of people nowadays are much more sincere with how they pirate games. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's how it is. Like, I see more, and obviously we're talking about people that own PCs and PCs that are powerful enough to game, so we're talking about PC gamers here, right? So a lot of PC gamers actually will like torrent a game and play it to see if it's a good port and if they actually like the game, and then will buy it afterwards. And you may be saying, well, a lot of people don't do that, and that is true, but you can't control everybody in this space, you know what I'm saying? And with a company like Nintendo, I understand, because Nintendo has their virtual console and whatever they're going to be doing, like the legacy games or whatever it's called that they're going to be doing on the Switch, right? So let's say that there's this ROM sites up and they have the Nintendo GameCube ROMs, right? And Nintendo puts their Nintendo GameCube games, like they start making them like emulation ready on the Switch, right? And they want to sell those games. The way I look at it, the people that want to buy those games are gonna buy those games regardless, especially on a platform like the Switch, because you can take those games on the go. And I'm one of those people, but that's not just me looking at it as, oh, well, I would do this, so everybody else is going to do this. No, I've seen actual people that do this all the time. Like, they'll have their ROM, and they'll play it on Dolphin on their computer, right? 1080p, 4K, whatever, all that, right? But then they'll actually have a copy of the game, or they'll buy, like, a copy of the game on, like, the eShop, or when the Wii had a shop, the Wii Shop. You know, they actually do buy those games. And I understand that Nintendo is trying to make a profit off of them, but the market that they're trying to appeal to anyways, the people that want these games and are going to buy them on these newer platforms, for the most part, are not the people that are also going to emulate them on their PCs to get them at higher settings, you know, and to run them and to record them and all that type of stuff. Generally, those markets don't overlap into like where they make up a major market share. And I feel like that's the case with almost all consoles, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like having a 3DS emulator at this point is not gonna hurt 3DS software sales. You know, having the Wii U emulator was never going to hurt Wii U software sales. In fact, it might have actually exposed more people to Wii U games, because not a lot of people had Wii U's. You know what I'm saying? And when you're speaking about these older consoles like the Nintendo, like the Super Nintendo, sure, they're putting out classic versions, but they're limited anyways. You know, okay, you could say, oh, well, you can go buy them on Virtual Console and own them legally. I mean, that's cool, right? But the people that want to emulate them, that want to play them on their computers, either, you know, for the most part, they're either going to be one or two people. They're going to be PC gamers that are quote-unquote graphics whores, and they want to run all their stuff at the highest quality possible, so they're not going to want to play the original versions on some other console. Or they're going to be kids whose parents, you know, are not going to pay for these games, even though they're only probably going to be like $10, $15 games. They're still not going to give them money for that, so they're not going to be able to pay for it anyways, so they're going to play it on their little PCs or their little laptop, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. So I never really subscribed to the notion that, you know, piracy, quote unquote, through emulation is actually hurting sales in a major way. Now, am I gonna sit up here and say that there aren't people, that are gonna emulate the games and feel like since they're emulating, they don't need to buy those other versions? Of course there are people like that. I'm not that stupid. What I'm saying is, I don't think the people that are trying to emulate were going to buy those games in the first place on a major scale. I don't think it's hurting any sales majorly. I mean, I understand where like a company like Nintendo would be coming from when they're trying to do that, but you know, we've seen it in the past where that type of stuff, being able to play these games for free, could lead to an increase in sales. You know, it's possible. We saw it with the PSP. Not saying that's normal, you know what I'm saying? And we kind of saw it with the Vita, because the Vita was the same way. A lot of people bought Vitas so that they could hack them. Like, it was the same thing. Like, I know the Vita didn't sell as well as the PSP, but it was pretty much the same thing. A lot of people bought Vitas so they could get the custom firmware on it and run, like, you know what I'm saying, like the emulators on the go. You know, a lot of people did that. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that type of stuff. A lot of people emulate games so they can try them out to buy them later. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people do that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, though. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let's get a discussion going about this. This has been your boy T-Dub, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.